We are live.
Live we are.
I started talking to Gavin like Yoda recently.
Oh, nice. How do you
He
take
loves it.
that?
What's that?
How do you like that?
He fucking loves it.
Hmm.
I mean, everybody loves that, right?
Who doesn't? Yeah.
Right. Welcome everybody to Bacon is My Podcast, where today we're going to talk about something super important to the two of us. I think
Shaving our balls with Manscaped.
we didn't even do the intro yet, like the actual.
I know.
Okay, let's get it out of the way now.
Okay.
Manscaped.
Whack your weeds.
Whack your weeds. New Weed
Mop
Whacker
your crop.
2.0. If you're listening to this and you want one of these, reach out to us. Let us know. We got 3 of these to give away. So the first way we're going to do this is absolutely no effort whatsoever, right? We're just going to be like, hey, if you want this, you let me know.
Mm-hmm.
You let me know. I'll get this. I'll get this to you.
Let us know in a creative way. The most creative gets it.
Yeah, I like that. Most creative way to tell me how you want. This
make us laugh. Make us go, Jesus. Like, whatever it is. Whatever it is. Be creative.
Go to manscaped.com. Use the promo code BACONPOD. Get 20% off and free shipping. And we've got other sponsors, too. You can check that out on baconismypodcast.com.
Yep.
Everything from mythical beards to pod decks to, all the other ones.
Deals and discounts everywhere.
Indeed.
Best deals and most current discounts are there. Like you said.
We need to. Ready? We're going to hit the intro.
Yeah.
Right?
Bacon! Bacon! Bacon is my podcast! Bacon! Bacon is my... Bacon! Bacon is my podcast! Bacon! Bacon is my...
Man, I had my headphones up super loud.
That was so loud.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it's funny because I always have the noise or the sound compression on.
Right.
And I didn't that time. And wow, that was loud.
Damn. I'm sorry for anybody that listens to us and that blasts your face off. Holy shit.
That's pretty fantastic. Welcome to Bacon is My Podcast. We're going to talk about something not just balls and whacking your weeds.
Yeah. Welcome to Discussions and Drinks.
Yeah. Where
he is Mike. I am Jimmy G. Today I am drinking. We're in different places today, as you can see, obviously. Duh. If you're on Strangerhood TV checking it out. If you're just listening, then maybe you don't notice anything, but I will let you know that we are in different places. I am drinking. I get this tiny little bottle of Jameson that I'm drinking.
I just polished off a little bit of Powers Irish Whiskey Gold Label. It is one of my favorites. I enjoy it quite a bit.
Yeah.
It is not, it's a little bit more than Jameson, like the normal Jameson bottle for the 750. Or I'm sorry, the liter, but it's well worth it. It's worth the extra $4 or $5.
Absolutely.
Your
did we bring back all that whiskey from DC?
Yeah, buddy.
Okay, good. Because I'll tell you right now, I completely forgot if I. Okay, good.
Rowan Co. So
I was like, I thought I brought it into your room, and I didn't see it in my room, so I didn't pack it. And I was like, all right.
Yeah, we got some Rowan Co. That is another fine company that makes some delicious Irish whiskey.
Yeah.
And it just so happened when we were in Washington, we were in Silver Spring, Maryland.
Yes.
Otherwise, like an offshoot of Washington, D.C. Around here, Rowan Co. goes for about $30 to $32 a bottle, and there it was $23.
Mm-hmm.
So we got ourselves 2. One did not make it.
One to rock, one to stock, my friend.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. One to rock, one to stock. If it wasn't on sale, I wouldn't have gotten 2, but it was on sale. Yeah. It was a fiscally savvy thing to do.
There were 2 of us.
Sure.
So we buy 2.
We were working the whole time pretty much, though.
Which is why we still have 1.
Right.
Yeah.
Good point. So yeah, we're remote today because I literally just several hours before starting this day of recording, found out that my daughter tested positive for COVID.
Yeah.
So, in the interest of not infecting
All the children I work with at
all the
School of
children
Rock.
Jimmy works with at School of Rock, he will he's over at his studio right there. I'm actually surprised. I'm sure it's too early, or maybe it's just because it's Sunday. But your rehearsal studio, which is, I mean, it's inhabited by many bands.
So quiet here, dude. It's like never like this.
But on a Sunday, I maybe
Yeah.
maybe, you know, maybe it's the holy day, you know.
Maybe.
Shabbos.
No one rolls on Shabbos.
Shabbos is Saturday though.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I'm surprised that you don't hear the buzzing and the
Yeah, no bass, nothing
super
happening.
loud bass. Man, that's what I used to be in that same rehearsal studio. Fantastic space, by the way.
Absolutely.
Shout out to John the Cat.
John the Cat.
Who's forever our dog.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that place, like literally every time I'd walk in there, it would just. That's
I'm sorry
all
for
you
anybody
fucking
driving.
heard.
I'm sorry for anybody that's driving.
It's literally all I fucking heard when I walked into that place. But
Yeah.
it sounds nice.
There's literally no one else here.
Wow.
Which never happens.
Well, you lived there,
Yeah.
so you would know.
Yeah. There were people here at all times of night.
Right.
And we would, like, our room's next to a metal band, and they used to rehearse at like from 1 to 2 or 12 to 2 or something like that, like many nights per week, but never the same nights per week. And
So you got to basically play roulette every time you were like, all right, I'm gonna try and go to sleep. And
Yeah,
that's why you
I'm
can't
gonna-
sleep anymore.
that's true. That's probably why my brain doesn't allow me to go to bed till 3 a.m.
Right.
because I'm just like, I'm gonna lay down and I'm gonna hear bass.
I'm gonna yeah. I miss that place though. I've had some good times there.
Dude, I love it here. I really do. Like, we've had talks recently, and over the years a couple of times about like, hey, do we still want to, pay to be here? Do we still, if we're not using the room? At one point, we were rehearsing 4 nights a week consistently for years. Right. When that drops down to like 2 nights a week with a full band, and then like one other time with whoever shows up, it kind of makes you go, all right, are we getting our money's worth out of this place? Should we maybe think about moving on? And man, I just love it here. I love the vibe here. I love the place. It's clean. You get to use your own shit, like you have 24-hour access. I can come in here and do this as well. Teach lessons from here, all those kind of things. So it's like
super fun too, because I said something that is very rare in the rehearsal space arena. It's clean.
Yes.
John
very
keeps
rare.
That fucking place spotless.
He really does,
and stuff like that. And he will keep you in check. Like if he's aware of anything happening in your room that shouldn't be happening, like any kind of smoking or this or that.
Yeah,
man, he is on it.
I think probably if you look at the history of this place, there was probably one band that was more offensive because they were weed smokers and you would just smell it coming out of the room. But in general, probably the people that messed up this place the most has probably been my band.
But that's
like not on, like not even that bad, but like
no, no, that's that. I think that is just from sheer longevity of being there.
Right, like
like that. You were there since the end, like toward the tail end of Sick as Monday.
Yes, yeah. Sick as Monday started here
before Craving Strange was even a thing. I think that all that has to do with is the sheer fact that you were you were the first band there.
Yeah, I think so.
You were one of either the first or the second.
Well, and despite the fact that I lived here for a number of years in this room, I was never the offender.
Right. Right. Well.
I might have been offender adjacent.
Yeah, I think we were FFR was like the third band there or fourth band.
I think so. Yeah, you guys were here pretty early.
Because it was you, Captain and co-pilot
Mm-hmm.
was next to you.
Yeah.
And then there was that double room for a little
And
while.
they're kind of still there. You know, like it's members of that band are still in that room.
Yeah?
Yeah. So
Yeah, I mean, why would you?
they're not still
give it
captain
up
and
if you-
co-pilot, I don't think, but it's
Right.
like still some of the same guys, which is cool.
Yeah, so there was your room, there was that room, and then there was the studio room that wasn't rented by anybody. I think they were trying to make that into a studio. So we were band number 3.
Yeah.
And they didn't even start building on the other side of that hallway until we were getting ready to leave.
Well, now they're building I think they're done actually. They built a like a whole in the whole garage area. There's like a video production room where there's a stage and it's all it's all like curved video wall that the stage is on and all kinds of crazy lighting so that bands can go in there and do content or do videos and stuff. Yeah. It's
That's
pretty awesome. Yeah,
I
they
gotta check
put a
that out.
lot they put a lot into that. It's pretty sweet.
Awesome. Yeah. So shout out to John the Cat. Shout out to Camille. Camille owns the building.
Camille owns a building.
Yeah. I just remember, talking to John and be like, yeah, well, Camille, that's always the line where when you try to ask him questions about
Right.
bending the rules just a little bit, he's like, well, see, it's not my choice.
It's not my choice.
Camille. Camille owns the building. But yeah, love John the Cat. Love the John the Cat. He is for those who don't know, he is the guitar player of the biggest band in Long Island history.
Rolling
would
Stone
say.
called them one of the most famous, influential bands that no one's ever heard of.
Right. And the Good Rats.
The Good Rats.
And, yeah, man. They I mean, I think they still play now, but it's none of the original members because the singer passed.
But he passed a
2
few years ago.
back.
Yeah.
But yeah, we used to FFR. Actually, what happened was when a local promoter here was kind of like dicking us around a little bit, and we bailed him out of something, and then on that show got dicked around. Because John was just kind of he's a fixture in all of our lives.
Yeah.
In terms of when you spend enough time in a rehearsal studio and you have somebody who's as hands-on as he was or is in a rehearsal room, he just becomes a fixture in your life. And
Oh, absolutely.
he absolutely, he doesn't like to say it, but he does take you under his wing.
He calls me son all the time. It's great.
Yeah,
I love it.
mean, like John the Cat, he will take you under his learning tree.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
I've learned a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's actually something that I totally miss about not being there anymore. Is like being under that John the Cat Gatto learning tree.
I miss not living here, honestly, because when I did, I was here every time he was here. Like
Yeah.
it was just one of those things where I was here so much because this was also our office and it was my home, and it was my home, honestly, because he saw me, he saw my van around the corner and he knew that I was sleeping in my van and I didn't live anywhere. And I'd been living in my van for a little over about a year, probably. And he was like, hey, like sleep in the studio. Don't sleep in your van. It was like winter time. And he was like,
Yeah.
don't be out there in the cold. And I was like, I didn't want to take advantage just because I already respected him so much. And, if it got too bad, I would sleep in the studio. But like generally I would sleep around the corner of my van. And then as early as I got up, I would get in here first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
And he was just like, hey, like, it's okay. Sleep in here. I know what you're doing. I come in early and I see you, and from that we kind of developed like a relationship where he had respect for me for whatever he perceived as what I was kind of like doing for my career, the way I was living and the choices I was making, and I just kind of like sponge absorbed every bit of insight and every bit of advice and everything. He would just give me stuff all the time, and it was
Yeah.
so cool because he'd show up in the morning. I'd be working on something, I'd be booking us, or I'd be like sending out emails, and he would knock on the door and he'd come in, and I'd ask him questions, show him songs. It was really awesome, and then he started to like count on me as like a night watchman for the place too, because he
Yeah.
knew I was here, so he didn't worry about the place either, and he was like, "Hey, it's cool."
Fun
Uh,
fact. Fun fact. That's what made us really love the fact that we are keeping our stuff in a place that's safe because you live there. We're like, oh, they might not have a guard dog at this place,
right,
but we've got a Jimmy at this
Jimmy's here.
place.
Right.
So yeah, you were a major selling point. I think the money that he charged you extra to live there,
Right.
I think he made more off of exploiting the fact that like, but it's okay because somebody lives here.
We have a guy. We have a guy
a
in
guy.
here. We have an in-house. We have a guy in-house.
Yeah, my favorite John the Cat story, and we've spoken about it, and I don't think I've ever like dropped his name with it before, but John the Cat really he took me and some of the members of my last band, or one of my last bands, FFR, Farther from Resolution, under his wing, to the point where he asked to produce a song with us. And that was whenever I discuss the producer that I was watching just get infuriated as I sang in the vocal booth, it was John, and he would just throw his hands up and walk away, and that's my one of my favorite John stories. But John has always been super super awesome. He came to my engagement party. He was invited to my wedding. He had a prior engagement that he couldn't go, but yeah, I need to hit him up soon because we got to have lunch or something. I know he's
Yeah.
not a dinner guy.
I owe him quite a few breakfasts that we still need to do.
Okay, well, you know what we need to do? Let's figure out a day and let's have a breakfast with John the Cat.
Yeah. I gotta buy him a breakfast, and I know I owe it to him.
Okay, I'll help you. I'll help split the breakfast in case he gets Benny's.
Nice.
You know, like you could go to a diner and get away scot free when you get like eggs, bacon, and maybe pancakes and home fries. You can be like, oh, cool, $7, sweet. But once you start getting into the Bennies, then then it gets into like the $15 range, $14 range, and you're like, who's this fucking guy with his pinky up? I'm here to help you. I'm here to help.
That's right.
Yeah. So our topic for today.
Yeah, 20 minutes in, our topic today.
Our topic today, and I really feel strongly about this, and people don't necessarily understand it when I bring it up, but I really do feel passionate about it. Is my favorite front person. Now, for a long time we all knew it as front man.
Right.
I do think now there are definitely, you get a break. You gotta start saying front person because there are some incredibly talented women out there doing some really fucking cool shit as singers, as lead singers. But I do also want to discuss the difference between a front person and a singer.
Yes.
Because I do think that very, very, very much gets confused.
So I'm interested in hearing what you think about this, just purely because we've had talks where we have differing opinions over what a band should do or look like or act like or be like to put on a show.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I'm because I've always been of the mindset of people come to see a show, not to hear one. And you don't want to be on stage looking like you just stepped out of the audience to come on stage.
Yeah.
Um, you want to give people something fun to look at, fun to watch, interesting, artistic. Give a visual aspect to the music, give a visual aspect to the presentation.
Yeah.
And whether that was how you dress, makeup, or whatever it was, just that aspect of a performance thing. And to me, a band in general, kind of that was part of the presentation, and a front person for the band was just another extension of that presentation. So I'm interested in hearing kind of like your thoughts on this topic, especially because you also have had like like
I
we've
wore
had
shorts
differing
on stage.
opinions over whether that extra stuff matters or not.
Well, okay. So I do think what you are talking about, when it comes to presentation,
Mhm.
right? I think there's a super fine line when it comes to presentation and quite frankly, a gimmick, right?
Mhm.
So something can be a part of your presentation, but I do think that if you lean too far into that, it's a gimmick. Or
Sure.
if you're not consistent with it, it's like it was a gimmick for that show.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, for me, a front person, what I think of front person, I think about I think about the live presentation,
Mhm.
right? I think about, you know, I don't really think about the outside stuff like the interviews and things like that.
Yeah, I agree. I
I
agree.
I think about when I watch this person on stage, I am captivated. I'm just absolutely enthralled in whatever they're doing on that stage. And it doesn't matter what the fuck else is going around me. But man, whatever they're doing I'm I love that. I
Mhm.
love that. I also don't think that front people are necessarily the best singers. That's just my take on it
I'll
because
agree with that. Yeah.
some of it has to do with showmanship, and if that showmanship for whatever reason is a detriment to hitting every single note, well, it is what it is, but it happens. We're all human. I think as a singer, for the both of us, I think we're both pretty forgiving when it comes to that.
Yeah.
Knowing that things happen and shit. If you're running from one end of the stage to the other and then to the other and to the other, yeah, you're gonna run out of fucking breath because you're gonna run out of breath. You're a human still, but
Well, what do you think is the job of a frontman?
I think
And where do you
so.
think that differs from the job of a singer-songwriter?
So I think, for example, one of my favorite front people of all time, good, bad, the good, the bad, the ugly, the great, whatever, Scott Weiland, right?
Yes.
I have seen
Absolutely.
Scott Weiland a number of times, and when Scott Weiland was on, that dude was fucking on. And
Mm-hmm.
all you cared about is what that guy is doing up on that stage, right? And I was there for that show that he fell. They did their reunion. He fell back into drugs again, and he showed up an hour and a half late, and he was profusely apologizing on stage to the point where they were like, "Hey, if you came to this show, please come to this next show in that area, and we'll give you a free T-shirt, and I think it was like 50% off the ticket. All you have to do is just validate your ticket, right?" So he's had those moments too, obviously, where he was just not well enough to play, but man, when he moved, the way he presented himself, that dude never had a gimmick,
Mm-hmm.
right? And not that a gimmick is a bad thing. Like, you take a band like Ice Nine Kills, right? They're a gimmick.
Sure.
They have a gimmick, and that's fine. That's cool. But Scott Weiland was not a gimmick. He was himself. He was the front person, and he presented himself on stage to where you were like, man, that guy is fucking awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to watch what that guy does. A more recent thing that I've kind of talked about was Seeing of Mice and Men, right? So their current singer, Aaron Pauley, he was their bass player and kind of ended up becoming their clean vocalist, and then after that eventually became their singer, and he does all the screams and all the clean singing, whole nine, right? He still played bass. Just before COVID, he had to get surgery where he had to get a growth taken off of his back or something, where it prevented him from playing bass, and it made him become a frontman. And I gotta say, as a singer, he's great. As a singer behind a bass, he's amazing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, he makes people go off, and it's great. But seeing him become the frontman and really like come from behind a guitar or bass or whatever made a huge difference in the presentation. And that didn't require any kind of eyeliner or makeup or whatever it is. It
Mm-hmm.
didn't require any kind of just overall eccentricism. Is that a word?
Sure.
Okay. He didn't have to become eccentric or anything. He just had to come out from behind that and not be tethered to that microphone stand. And it was a completely different show. I mean, he just commanded the way he commanded the crowd, the way he was able to move, and the way he was able to, there's something about the movements that really differentiate a singer to a front person or a front man or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of what I was thinking about, is more of the action and the way that you're able to command a crowd.
See, when I think of frontman, I think of the total package, because I think of there is a commitment to the art, and there's a freedom to everything. So, like, I never thought of I don't know any frontman in history, in my mind, that something like eyeliner or their hairstyle made them a frontman.
Right.
Right? None of those things ever mattered. So no one needs them, because they never add anything anyway. They're either a part of who you are or they're not.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I think sometimes it gets hung up on like what, I can get just as much hung up on what I think a frontman should look like as probably you can get hung up on what you think is silly. You know what
Oh
I
yeah.
mean? Whereas you look at Scott Weiland's way of carrying himself, he was a frontman whether he was on stage or not, because
Sure.
he acted, dressed, carried himself like a superstar. If he walked into a place where you were at, the way that he looked, the way that he dressed, the way that he talked, the way that he walked, all of those things had a presence on them that said, not typical.
It's the Vince McMahon airport test where if you're walking through an airport, now this is with wrestlers obviously,
Right, right.
and you see somebody, you go, oh, that person is something.
This person's somebody.
And
Right.
that pertains to music too, for sure.
Yeah, there's a certain
Aura.
perfect. A certain aura to them, the way that they just carry themselves, and they could be dressed or in anything. It doesn't matter. There's just an aura to them. There's a magnetism to them. They have, the it factor,
Right.
that type of thing. And you certainly have those frontmen that had that. And then you have these frontmen that maybe didn't immediately have that, but for whatever reason, once they got on a stage, they just commanded. They were able to command an audience. They were able to have an audience in the palm of their hand. If they want you to move, you move. If they want you to shut up, you shut up. If they want you, like that separates a frontman from a singer to
Right.
me.
Yes.
So that's definitely something that I have always kind of like gravitated towards. You look at certain singers and you just Scott Weiland's still that perfect example of that. But Scott Weiland was a modern day David Bowie. And
Well,
David Bowie, incredible frontman,
he was a modern day David Bowie at some point, but he was not always that. And even in those first couple out records, he was still somehow that commanding frontman.
You didn't think he was a modern day David Bowie in those first albums? Because I totally did from the first time.
Core, I know, like Core and Purple. I mean, once they hit Tiny Music, for sure. Like
just the way he moved on stage, just the way that he spoke to an audience, just the way, not how he sang or how he dressed, but just, he was influenced by somebody that
Sure.
really that really kind of affected how he approached the craft.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I think that's like I'll give another example. So in you as a front man, right? And I don't know if you think of yourself as a front man or not, but when I look at you as a front man, I see the influence of like a Zach De La Rocha in you. Not that you sing like him, sound like him, dress like him, talk like him.
Right.
But just that there's an appreciation for the presence that Zach has, and you took that and it influenced your approach in whatever way. I don't know if that's true, but that's what I see when I see you.
I can definitely.
There's an intensity that's similar to that.
Yeah.
You don't sound like him at all.
Right.
You don't phrase things like him at all. You don't talk to a crowd like him at all.
But
none of that stuff.
That has to do with a singer.
Right. That the presence, it strikes me like that, and it has nothing to do with what your band sounds like or what you look like.
Right.
It's just that intangible. It puts in the back of my head, oh, this guy, like I see a similarity, or I feel a similarity in the intensity.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of intense singers out there that I don't get the same kind of thing from. Do you see yourself as a frontman?
Oh man, that's a loaded question. I mean,
It is not. It is a
I
yes or no question, my friend.
no, you know what? Honestly, like I always so for me, I constantly struggle with wanting to be the front man, right?
Okay.
And I do feel like when it comes to projects where I am behind a guitar, I am unable to be a front man. I don't think that's a blanket statement by any means. And if you want me to cite certain people, this is not a dick suck party,
Right.
but you know, like Dave Grohl, you know, like in like people who are able to command the crowd in ways that that I have to put a little bit of extra effort into, and I'm able to do that when I'm not tethered behind a guitar.
Okay.
So when I'm behind a guitar, I try to be a front man. I see myself as less of a front man, but when I don't have a guitar on, I'm able to do front man things.
I appreciate thank you for the compliment. I appreciate that. What's funny is like if you were to ask me, do you see yourself as a front man? Easy answer, no. I don't. I see myself as a singer, and I see myself as somebody who can verbally and emotionally connect with a crowd. But I don't see myself as a front man because I don't feel like I've ever truly either let myself or open myself to doing that. And maybe it's a tethered to the guitar thing, or maybe it's whatever it is. But I don't see, and it's probably, I mean, I see the same thing with like someone like if you're talking about singers that also play guitar, you look at Dave Grohl, and I see Dave Grohl as a front man, but I see him as a front man because he's like the world's favorite singer. You know what I mean? Like I don't see him as a front man.
Maybe it is because of a lot of the outside.
Yeah, I don't see Dave Grohl as a front man the way that I looked at Scott Weiland as a front man. I don't. I think Scott Weiland was more of a complete front man, whereas Dave Grohl I see as a singer songwriter that is he's the world's favorite singer. He's like the world's buddy. And he's an incredible singer-songwriter, and he can, and he's a authentic everyman that can connect with a crowd.
Sure.
And I see myself in that kind of a way as well. Would I like, do I think I could be a front Maybe. I would love the chance to try. I would love the chance to kind of like
I want
do it. So while I appreciate the compliment, I would say nah. I would say I'm not, and I would say that you have been a front man periodically when you get the chance to be free, because I think that a true frontman is not thinking about what they're doing. They're just doing.
Yeah.
Right? They're just, aside from the connection that they build with a crowd, aside from being able to communicate in an authentic way, there's also just that intangible thing about them where they get lost in what they're doing, and that commands your attention.
Yeah, I fall victim to that a lot.
Yeah, and but I
And
think that's awesome. I
I'm
think
I'm
it's great.
I'm in my head so much.
Hmm.
And post COVID, the first something heavy show was really my that happened like really bad, where
Right.
I was just like thinking about everything that happens at a show and everything, and it's just like, man, you know what? Just fucking go out there and do it. Just go out there and do the thing,
Hmm.
right? And I think some of it had to do with me not being able to find a guitar player, and you know, relearning songs and stuff like that. So it was like
Right.
something heavy was originally supposed to be,
You
where
just
I would
singing.
be, yeah, just singing, but also it was one of those things where it was like, okay, well, I'm gonna write, and at least I can do, throughout COVID, the live streams everybody saw, I was able to hop in on bass and just do bass. So this way we could still do shit.
Hmm.
So yeah, I mean, hopefully, fingers crossed, June, when we have our beery show, June and August. Hopefully we have a guitar player, and
Nice.
then I can do frontman things. I mean, I never actually answered your question of. I
Yeah.
feel like I do frontman things. I don't know if I am a frontman, but I do think I do frontman things.
I I I agree with you. I agree with you.
Yeah.
I also think you're not a complete frontman yet, because you haven't truly been kind of allowed to disconnect from the process and just connect to the moment.
Yeah. I think the first or second. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, the second something heavy show, I was able to
Hmm.
kind of do that. But
Yeah, I think you absolutely have the capacity to do
yeah.
that and to be a frontman. Um, you just need to kind of like be be able to.
Well, Jen and I talked
Honestly.
talked about something today, and I do think that I need to take a little bit of a step out of the clinical side
Hmm.
and get a little bit more in touch with the human side of it.
Huh? You're making music for humans,
I no, I get that. I
you
get
know?
that, but I do think that there has been a little bit of, and I guess maybe that's a detriment to being two people in a band,
I think it is, yeah.
where you kind of lose, or and not even just that, but also the the production side of things, and being so heavily involved in the production side of things. Just it's more of a, I love doing this, and then there's a little bit of disconnect, and I'm working on it. I'm working on it. It's definitely gotten better. I
Do
mean,
you?
when you listen to I'll ask you, when you listen to
Yeah,
the new recordings, that has gotten better, correct?
100%.
Okay. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in terms of that, yeah. But now I have to, like, on the stage side of things, kind of get that, so this way I can connect those pieces.
Yeah, I really like it's interesting. You're way more cerebral about some of the stuff than I am, which is interesting because your music is so passion forward. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Your music it's not your music is not clinical at all.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it's just not. It's all passion. So it's interesting to me that you find yourself sometimes getting lost in that side of it, and unable to kind of like reconcile and jump on the other side of it and let go. Um, and I think yeah, I think when you do, that's gonna be a big thing because there's a magnetism, man, that just happens. Um, you have it already because people come to see you and people enjoy it. And it's like it's the same thing. It's the same thing that I luckily have, is that people come and they connect on whatever level. Um, but I don't think either of us have flipped that switch to being like a front man.
Yeah.
I think you put me in front of people that know a little bit about me, or know a little bit about the band, or know a little bit about our songs, and they're going to connect on a really personal level. And
Right.
given a certain amount of time, I'm going to be able to find really, really great connections with an audience. And then the fact that I have a connection with that audience makes it infectious to audience that doesn't know me. But I don't think I'm able to get up in front of a crowd of strangers and captivate like a true frontman would. I think I still need time with people. I need to sell it.
Mm.
I need to be like, you need to know me a little bit. You should come drink with me.
You know what's funny? I've only seen you at local shows, right?
Right.
So I haven't seen you in a festival setting or a music festival setting,
Right.
or an out of state show or
Right.
anything like that. So yeah, I'm curious as to how that Jimmy is versus like Jimmy at a Revolution or Jimmy at a
Right.
is.
I pretty much act the same.
You act the same, right?
Right.
But
But
how
but that connection
that-
is a little bit trickier to get because I don't immediately have that magnetism that a quote frontman. Well, I won't even quote frontman, that a true frontman has. I don't walk into a room and people think that's somebody. I walk into a room and I start talking, and after a while, people go like, "Oh, he's kind of fun to talk to." Like it's a whole different thing.
I think I think, and I'm going to say this now, and I know we talked about this. So on the last Twitch stream, after the fact, we've let's just throw this out here now. We are going to play a show as Bacon is My Passion.
Yeah.
It's going to happen in October. It's a ways down the road, but it is going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
We did talk about how we were like, well, we can just, switch instruments if we need to, and, we'll find one person or anything like that. I think for the show, we need to find 2 guitar players and a bass player. And have us untethered.
That would be my goal for the show. We'll see if we're able to do it, but that would be my goal for the show. Yeah.
Because I think that'd make a huge difference for us.
How would you approach, and would you even like it? Right? Like, so here's my, if I were to look for another band to be in,
Mm-hmm.
I would absolutely love to join something where I'm not writing any music at all, where there are people that are there's a band or a person that's writing music that's just speaking to me, and I'm able to just kind of like vibe with it and write to it, and I'm not even involved in the playing. I don't even want to learn how to play it. I just want to approach it from a vocal, rhythmic communication singer standpoint, where I don't even know how to write a lyric over something I'm playing. I don't even have that tether at all.
Yeah.
I would love to be able to do that. That would be amazing to me. So is that even a thing that appeals to you? Or are you like, that's terrifying to me, I want to have more control, I just want to be able to write and do my thing?
I'm not closed off to it.
Mm-hmm.
It would have to really speak to me for me to sing it.
Yeah.
I think that's probably the biggest hang up. I have thought about approaching another band and being a singer of a band that's already established, that's whatever. But it's one of those things that the music would really have to speak to me to do that.
Yeah.
I don't think it's that easy.
I don't think it is either. I
I don't think it's
clearly,
that. I
clearly
don't
it's
think.
not, you
Well,
know?
yeah. Well, no, I don't think that. I'm gonna rephrase that. I don't think it's that easy for any singer to approach in that manner without a little bit of, like, I'll say, ego going, well, I don't want to sing that person's music, or I don't want to sing it this way.
Mm-hmm.
And then conversely, if you come in there and you do your thing over somebody, you approach somebody else's music that's already out there like that, and you approach it that way, you may not get the same reciprocation.
True. Very true.
So yeah, I mean, I would love to play with, I'd love to come in and they'd be like, yeah, here's a bunch of really fucking awesome music,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, whether it's, I mean, ideally, it would be like, hey, I've got some ideas about what this song should be about. Can you relate to this? And I like, then I can write around that. Yeah, yeah. It would be a really specific situation for me to join as a singer of something that I'm not a part of the process for.
Well, no, I mean a part of the process, but just not a part of, you don't have a guitar in your hand.
Oh man, I that's what something heavy was for. I was writing things so this way I didn't have to play guitar. And then
Well,
guess
but you
what I
were
have to
writing
do?
the guitar parts though.
I was writing the guitar parts and making them almost impossible for me to play and sing it at
Still,
the same
what I'm
time.
saying, what
And
I'm
then I
saying,
had to learn it. I did it.
what I'm saying is finding a group of musicians that are doing all the music stuff,
Mm,
and that music is speaking to you, and you're working with them, and you're
yeah.
still able to go like, hey, let's move here or let's move there without having to be a part of the playing of it.
Yeah.
um like I've flirted around many times over the years of adding another guitar player to Craving Strange and me just singing.
Right.
uh but
I did that with
either
FFR. Yeah.
either I haven't found that guitar player that could come in and like take my place and not feel like it's losing something. And that's not like, I'm not trying to say that I'm this or that or the other.
No, but it's your flavor of writing.
Right. Like it's just a difficult thing to approach, probably because I've written all these
I
songs on
think
guitar. You know what I mean?
how
Like,
about this? I think that, and I think I fall into that a lot too. Is I think giving up the guitar completely gives up a part of us.
yeah, but I will
Because we
say,
didn't start as frontmen. We weren't just singers. We weren't just like guys out front doing it. We
mhm,
became that guy eventually out of necessity, I guess you would say, right?
yeah,
And but we still loved our guitar. And I do think that, being a part of something that's whatever, that you're not playing guitar is awesome and stuff. But I do think that maybe the reason why I haven't done it, and maybe the reason why you haven't actually done it, same with like finding an extra member to take that guitar place, is that you don't necessarily want to give that up.
I, yeah, I think there's probably a lot of truth to that.
I think I wrestle with it myself. As much as I keep saying, I'm like, yeah, I just want to fucking do the front man thing and just
Right.
be out there and just climb bars and do that kind of thing. I think there is a part of me that's like, man, I don't want to give up that ability.
Well, there's a fun aspect to it, but there's also a safety net aspect to it.
Yeah, right.
Which
Right.
I think is big. I will say that getting the opportunity to join a band and not be the singer and
Mhm.
just be a guitar player, um, yet still write songs, write music for the songs, and do all that. Me getting to do that when I did it for Crash Transit was awesome. Like
Yeah,
I
yeah.
loved it. I loved the opportunity. I loved how challenging it was when I got thrown into the lead guitar spot. That even though it was just for one show, it was like putting in all the work to do it, and it was full of anxiety and stress and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But getting to do it and doing it was so much fun, and so cool and artistically uh, gratifying, and also just showing myself that like I could do it, like that was another part of it.
Yeah.
Was huge. I just like I've never had the opportunity to do it on the other side of it.
Sure.
And uh, I always thought of myself as a guitar player first, and then I mean, not more than a few, but like years ago, like probably around the middle of like Craving Strange, I started thinking of myself as a singer first, where I was like, okay, I've gotten to the point where I'm better at this than I am at that. Um, so that's in my mind of like, okay, so I could do something as a singer. Still, I don't know, as a frontman, I think I could. I think it'd be fun to do.
I could tell you at when you guys close with Say It All
Right.
and you do put the guitar down.
Yeah, that's
Man,
frontman stuff.
That's front.
That's frontman stuff.
That's cowboy shit right there. That's some cowboy shit right there. And
But that's easy to do in one song, man. That's easy to do in one song.
dude. You're preaching to the choir. Like what did I do for
Exactly. You do
all
one
of
song.
FFR and all of Last Turn Off Broadway? It was
Yeah,
like,
man.
all right, cool. Here's the last song. It's that one song that this guy comes
Yep.
out from behind the guitar.
I'm gonna blow my wad in this one song. I don't know about doing that for 45 minutes.
I'm telling you, the first time I did it was so the first Something Heavy show. I can tell you that immediately I was like, I need to work on stamina. I need to work on being able to do this consistently for 30 to 40 minutes. Like I have to work on that. And I did. And the second Something Heavy show, it showed and it went well and I was able to do it.
Yeah.
And I was able to do it without climbing on bars and shit like that, which for
Right.
some reason, like,
Well, there's a
that's
difference in
normally my
stage
thing,
presence.
you
Yeah,
know? That's normally my thing. I loved doing that, where I'd like climb on top of a bar stool or something like that, and people
Beat
would
yourself
just,
up
like,
with the mic.
yeah. Well, I think this the first or second Something Heavy show I did give a couple of dents to myself,
Right.
but that was just out of old habits. But I've gotten better. But yeah, I do think that it is a different mindset doing it for a whole 30 to 40 minutes. You do have to kind of use that energy evenly, but at the same time your mind is not necessarily in two places at once.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a little easier to do that eye contact that you wouldn't necessarily give, because you're trying to you're like, okay, here's this, and you could listen. I played the same songs for many years. You played songs for even longer than that in a set, every set, right?
Yeah.
But there's still a part in every one of those songs where your eyes come off and you're going
Yep.
to a higher spot on the guitar and stuff like that. And that break is kind of that's also another thing that you have to take into account, because you're engaging with an audience, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're feeling their energy, they're feeling your energy, and that's it. That's what you got, and that's what you're feeding yourself on. And when you're on guitar, sometimes you do that look away. When you do that look away, you may not think it's kind of breaking it, giving a break in that energy, but it is. It's because your brain is still there too. It's not just there. It's also, okay, I can't fuck this part up.
Right. Right.
Right. So that's another thing to keep into account. But I like I said, I do think that, I think you'd be great. I think you'd be great at it. You know, just honestly, do what I did, and just kind of after the first show, be like, I gotta
Get your stamina up.
I gotta do some fucking cardio. Like, let's.
I gotta jog in place a little bit.
You know what?
Maybe go for a few more walks.
I had a bike and a one of those stationary bikes and oh shit, what's it? The elliptical.
Nice.
Went on the elliptical for a little bit, watched some TV as I was doing it, and then I eventually was like, well, I'm gonna I'm getting better now. I'm gonna start singing while I go on the elliptical, and then COVID happened, and I was like, well, you know what? It's hard to find players. He's stuck behind a guitar.
I'm gonna start singing in between pizza bites.
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah.
I love pizza. Chomp, chomp, chomp. Pizza's so good. Chomp, chomp, chomp.
Listen, man, we're trying to help our local establishments.
Yeah, totally, man. So if you had, give me that you've seen live, right? And I want you to like take a second and think about, as far as just frontmen, who have you seen live that you've just watched captivate an audience with, whether how they sang, how they performed, how they spoke, just, where you found yourself in it being like, damn, this dude's good.
Yeah, man, I've seen so many shows, so many,
yeah,
like, especially recently. There are a couple of different people that do come to mind, for different reasons, we spoke a couple of weeks ago about Marmozets. Becca is the front woman's name. She was very, man, I don't even know how to explain it. She was just super captivating as a front person in general. The way she moved, the way she sang, I mean, hands down, just an incredible singer. But and she's not like the biggest rock star ever either,
right?
But she went to those places that we all go to, when we're writing and stuff like that, and she was able to do that the 2 times that I've seen them. She was incredibly captivating as a singer and as a front person. I don't know if there's a true tangible thing that I could say, this is what made her better.
Right. Well, no, it's not for us to define, because it's just you feel it when you're in the room with them.
Right.
And you're just like, oh shit.
Yeah. Someone else that let me think. It was you got Scott Weiland.
Mm-hmm.
I saw them on tour. STP opened for the Chili Peppers, and it was like STP stole the show because of how Scott Weiland was.
Right.
And man, it was life-changing for me as an aspiring musician to see, like, oh man, that's what a front man needs to be. Like, they need to get the fuck away from the back of a stand and just like do their thing. So that super impacted me. And then like more recently, especially very recently, like, listen, I've taken shots on this show, not taken shots, but I've said, like, hey, I've seen the Deftones like 11 times.
Mm-hmm. Oh, dude, there's something about Chino for sure.
4 of those times, man, not that great. But the other 6 times, 7 times,
Mm-hmm.
holy shit. That guy fucking knows what to do, how to do it. Incredible. Incredible. Like, absolutely insanely incredible. STP I've seen 4 times, right? And one of those times, Scott Weiland could not perform. But the other times, like when the times outweigh it, when you've got an eccentric front person, that happens, I guess, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Chino is another person, and recently, Caleb from Beartooth, he took his health like super seriously, and he stopped drinking, and started exercising and all that stuff. And man, let me tell you, on stage, he is a fucking lunatic. He is unbelievable to watch on stage, and the way that he asserts himself now. I've seen Beartooth throughout the years,
Mm-hmm.
and spotty sometimes. Where it was just like, man, he was really good coming out the gate, but towards the end, he was just kind of losing it and stuff. But now, dude, beginning to end, he is just a great, great front man, and he knows how to command a crowd. He hits his notes. He knows when to bring it to the crowd to sing it to him. He's super engaging. Yeah, so I think like now, still active and still like doing their thing. Yeah, Caleb from Beartooth.
What do you think separates, like, let's use Caleb, right? Like, I know Beartooth's music. Um, Without you telling me what the singer's name is, I would never have known. Now, I've never seen them live. I may have seen them live and gone, "Oh shit, who's this guy?" Right? But before I ever saw them live, I absolutely knew who Scott Weiland was without knowing or caring about any other member of that band.
Well, I
And I'm
think
not, and I don't chase singers.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Chris Cornell, I knew there was something about him that just broke every possible barrier. Kurt Cobain, there was something about him that made you. It will go more recent. Burt McCracken. There's something about him. Is he the
I
greatest singer all the time? No, but
no, but
there was something
I
about him
I have
that.
to say that all the people that you've mentioned
Mhm.
are people from and the used is just at that tipping point, right? They're
Okay.
just at that, like, they got in just at the end, but it was that pre-internet era,
Okay.
right? Chris Cornell, he was around for a little bit of it. You take people. I don't think Scott Weiland was really there for the true internet era
Right.
of music. Where, quite frankly, you look at a band like Dragged Under, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where the band itself, they're fucking great, right? Tony is the singer. Ain't nobody know about Tony. You know who
Okay.
they know about? They know about Fluff. They know about the guitar player, who is a YouTube star, who is a social media influencer, right? So I think that we're kind of running into a different era where I think the media means a little bit less, and the media latches on to what's popular online.
Okay.
So if this person goes and does something fun and cool and interesting and whatever, they'll latch onto it. But in terms of true epic musicians and people in bands and stuff like that, I don't think you could name somebody in the modern era that's in a band, that's truly in a band, that you know the front person.
What do you think about Hayley Williams?
Hayley Williams is pre-hardcore internet era.
Okay. So you think that
she is just at the cusp where she was just pre that, and then I'm gonna I'll say it. It's not like awesome or anything like that.
Yeah.
But she had nude photos leak. What did the press latch onto? Oh, this front girl from.
I didn't know she had nude photos leak.
Yeah.
I honestly didn't know that.
Well, you know what? Somehow they leaked on her Twitter
Okay.
back then. So
but I think of her as a front man or front woman or front person,
but
right? I've seen them live. I saw her captivate a crowd.
I've seen them. I saw them when they were fucking 15 years old.
But then you look at, so you take like a band like that, and then you take a band like In This Moment, right? And is the singer of In This Moment a great front person? I don't know. I think they've got a good shtick.
I think
they have really cool songs.
This is where that gimmick versus front person thing.
But that's what I'm saying. Like
play.
I'm not thinking. I don't know about Hayley Williams because she had nude photos leak. I know about Hayley Williams because I saw them live and went, "Holy shit, she's great." There's something about her.
I'm gonna say this. So I saw them at Bamboozle that one year, and then I also saw them at the Crazy Donkey. I brought my sister because she liked their first record, and she was like, I want to go. And she was like 15 or 16 at the time, and I was like, yeah, like they're a good band. Yeah, let's go fucking see them. So that's how I know Hayley Williams. That's not how I discovered Hayley Williams. Now, is Hayley Williams a huge star? A huge name in pop culture because of Paramore?
I don't think she's a huge name in pop culture because of nude photos.
I don't think that hurt her cause.
I never saw or heard of them.
That was a huge thing.
I never saw or heard of them, honestly.
It wasn't like the ones that happened, like where they were like, yeah, there was batches of things or whatever.
Right.
She went and tweeted it on her Twitter account.
Yeah. I didn't follow her Twitter. I didn't follow her online. But I was aware of her and knew of her based on seeing them and her presence as a singer.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I'm not taking any of that away from her or anything like that. But I do think that she was on that cusp, almost like very, very, very tail end. But I do think that kind of helped push her over because that got mainstream coverage.
Okay.
Prior to them really blowing up.
So, do you think that there is no?
I mean, like what I'm saying is this.
Do you think it's possible to even?
What I'm saying is this, and like whether you heard about it or not is fine.
Mm-hmm.
But when
I think that's a valid thing though. If I didn't hear about it,
when an outlet like TMZ goes, "Hey, this happened," I mean, because Jimmy didn't hear it. How often do you read TMZ?
I'm pretty aware of things on the internet, like.
Well, no, but I'm saying like
I'm not like what is fucking internet,
right? But no, but I'm saying like what I'm saying is a company like TMZ, right?
Okay.
Do you read them?
I've seen them and I've checked them out, but I will also say a lot of singers have had nude photos on the internet, and they're not superstars. So I would say that Paramore has her presence, her songwriting, and everything is the thing that keeps them where they're at, not because someone saw her tits once. Like there's a lot of tits on the internet. There's a lot of singers on the internet that are purposely showing themselves. There's a lot of you can
Yes.
find nude photos of anybody, but those
you're-
people aren't
you're-
looked at
You're
as
talking,
iconic.
You're talking in terms of 2022, 2023.
No, I'm talking.
You're talking like 2010s.
Okay,
even.
but I'm talking in terms of if she didn't have the talent to back up that little bit of shit.
I'm not saying that she doesn't have that talent.
Well,
But
what I'm saying is whether she had nude photos or not, she'd still be where she is now. I think. I don't think people know what tits look like, dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, come on. I don't think if Caleb had a picture of his dick out 10 years ago, he'd be a bigger star today. I think, like he'd be where he is. I'm just saying that if you are, I'm wondering if there are bands out there currently that have a front person that has every bit of what Scott Weiland had, that has every bit of what David Bowie had, or Prince, or there's certain people that are out front in their bands that are captivating to an audience.
Well,
but I think, like you're saying, that the internet is like helping them get their names out. I think it's making it worse.
well, you also brought up different people too.
Yeah.
David Bowie, yeah, he is a front. He's definitely a front man.
Yeah.
But he is the person, right?
Of course.
And
we're talking
front
about
man.
him decades later, so he has the benefit of decades of icon. But he was an icon when he was new.
Yeah, but he was also not the front person of a band.
Okay.
Right?
Does that not make him a front man?
No. I do think that I think of that differently because of that. And maybe that's like, listen, you only have so many characters you can put on a fucking title, but like,
Right.
but like, yeah, he's a front person, but you're like, we're kind of talking in the band space a little bit. I do think that
I just thought we were talking about so maybe I'm confusing the topic, because when I think of a front man, I think of Scott Weiland. I also think of David Lee Roth. I also think of Prince. I also think of David Bowie, right? And I don't know if there's a conversation that exists where you can be like, Scott Weiland is more of a front man than Prince because Prince didn't have a band.
No.
You know what I mean?
No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. But I do think that the presentation again kind of works to their benefit with a Prince.
But what's different other than a band name?
Yeah, you're right.
They're still on stage with a drummer and a guitar player sure, but like, and I guess okay.
They're on stage, but are there videos with them? No, not necessarily.
Alanis Morissette, her band was in every video.
Okay,
she's an incredible front person. Yeah, you get a pop artist, but Justin Timberlake, great front man.
sure.
But is he a front man or is he a pop artist? I mean, like, he was in a band and he stood out from that band, and he was in a band of exceptional singers. But what made him stand out? The qualities of a front man. Like what did he have that some of the other members of his band didn't have? What is it that made him stand out? To me, that's like, okay, that's that it factor, that quality that draws the attention to you, that command of attention that draws everybody's eyes to you, that makes everybody go, that's the guy, that's the one.
I agree with that. And you know what? Like, I would definitely give Justin Timberlake that, in terms of a collective,
Mm-hmm.
he was the front man.
But then look at Lenny Kravitz. Lenny Kravitz. Damn, dude, I saw him live. That dude commands a crowd. You know?
But yeah. No. I'm not saying that they're not front people.
Okay.
And I think when I kind of brought up the topic, I thought about band, like
Gotcha.
a band, those people that stood out from that band.
Gotcha. Okay.
And how that approaches, and it, you know, when you really think about it, all these topics that we talk about, it's such a huge blanketed statement and stuff like that.
Of course, yeah.
So like when
there's no wrong, there's just the
Right,
perspective that
there's
you're looking at it like.
perspectives, right?
Yep.
So
Yep.
so like Lenny Kravitz, a David Bowie, a Prince. Yeah,
Bruno
do I think
Mars, man.
Bruno Mars, Michael Jackson, like shit, man. Like
Yeah.
we can Madonna, we can go on forever about who are great front people, right? And that I'm not saying that those people are not front people, because they fucking are. Obviously, they were also pushed as, hey,
a solo act.
This
Yeah.
is an artist, and we have this artist that we're going to put in front of you, regardless of the fact that Lenny Kravitz had guitars.
Right. I guess you're not. You're not.
But
People don't have to figure out what his name is.
being the front person
Right.
of like, a band is, like you said, Burt McCracken. You brought up Haley Williams. Do I think that that some controversy helped with some of that? I don't think it hurt her popularity personally. I don't think it made her broke her. Right? I don't think it would do either way. She was also at the cusp of that, like, I mean, we were in bands that fall victim to a lot of those things, right? Where it was like that era of, well, you know what? You're not going to get picked up by a major label because, well, major labels want you to have a fucking complete, great sounding full record and a package and a this and a that and whatever.
It has to have sold 100,000 copies.
Exactly.
Already. Yeah.
Paramore had that. Paramore signed to a major label before it had to be.
Well, that's all I'm saying.
Hundreds of thousands.
Yeah. All I'm saying is that I think
they signed to.
I think saying Haley Williams wouldn't be where she is without the controversy is like without like nude photos leaking is the same thing as saying Scott Weiland wouldn't be thought of the way he is if he wasn't a drug addict. That's his controversy. Would he be seen as great of a frontman? Did him being a drug addict make him a better frontman? No. Did Haley Williams nude photos leaking make her a better frontwoman? No. They have the talent and they have the goods regardless.
But
those things, did they help them? I don't know. Did Scott Weiland being an addict help him?
I think
I don't know.
Yeah, but I do think that happening with her helped differentiate her from the band.
I don't know, man. I don't know if I can get on board with that. I don't know if I can get on board with that.
It helped people know her name over the band. Otherwise, it was the band, right?
Right.
It was always just the band. It was the band, and then something happened with her from the band, and therefore her name is more out there. I'm not saying she's not completely a great front person.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think we weren't talking about who's a good front person, who's not, right?
Right.
You were talking about who.
I was just talking about people. Like, I was bringing up.
You were talking about how
current
bands that you know people's names,
and saying like, do we know, are these front people in the same way that people from the past are front people, or are they not being seen or not getting the appreciation because of all the other shit that comes with everything these days?
Well, you had brought up the fact that you don't know singers' names.
Yeah.
But you know hers. Well,
but I don't
know hers because she's got pop
Right. But you
culture
brought up
references.
you brought up that I might know hers because she had nude photos leak, and I brought up that like I never knew that about her,
No,
and
that's
I
not.
knew her name
No,
already.
I didn't mean it in that way. I'm saying that her name broke out because of the nude photos. That is why her name broke out of that. Is that not true?
I
Like
don't know because I don't know about the nude photos. Like, why did Bert's name break out? Why did Gerard's name break out?
Bert's because you follow the band.
No, Bert had T-shirts that said "I'm Bert's homeboy" at fucking Hot Topic. Bert's name didn't break out to me.
Well,
Bert's,
that
you
was a
know,
band that was a band choice.
but still, his
Right.
name broke out somehow. People gravitated to him and related to him somehow. Same with Gerard. They gravitated to him. Nobody's running around talking about the lead singer of fucking Yellow Card. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what that guy's name is. His
Ryan
name's not
Keys.
on his name. He's you know everybody's name because you're a music nerd. But
I
like,
yeah. I don't know people in my family's names, but I
right.
don't I know.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, so me as a layperson that doesn't research and find out the names of people in bands, I have to hear about them for some reason. They have to be standing out somehow. They have to be making some noise because I'm a common listener,
Right.
right? I may obsess over their songs or obsess over the band, but I don't care about anybody's name. I never did. I don't even want to put my own band's name on shit individually. You know what I mean? Like it's never been a thing for me. So for me to go like I know who Gerard Way is and I know who Burt McCracken is, but I don't know I don't know the name of the singer of Story of the Year. I don't know the name of the
Darren
singer.
Marsala.
Great. I don't know the name of the singer for half the bands that I listen to and like. I saw a singer that really blew me away when we were at So What Fest. The singer of Pele Royale had a great command over the crowd that really was able to kind of like put the crowd in the palm of his hand. And I don't know his name. Maybe I'll learn his name over the next couple albums because somehow that name will get out, and maybe it'll be because a photo of his dick goes out or whatever. And whatever
I'll try and
reason
work
that
that out.
is, whatever reason that is. But I'm saying there's certain people become iconic or known or talked about or separated from their band for some kind of reason,
Mm-hmm.
and then they're able to maintain that somehow.
Mm-hmm.
Is it just controversy these days? Is that all it is? Is it maybe it is. Maybe Scott Weiland is known more for being an addict and being a junkie, and then that made us all know his name because he got arrested a bunch. Maybe that's it. Maybe because Kurt Cobain killed himself. Maybe that was it. But I knew those names before I knew those things. I knew those names the same way that I knew Axl Rose's name.
Well, okay. So again, you're going back to the classic.
But I mean, that's what we have to compare today too.
But what I want to say is I think that the two people, maybe just one, maybe more just one. I think in terms of people who don't stir up shit, in terms of front people in that era, Chris Cornell.
Mm-hmm.
He's the one you knew, even though he didn't stir up shit. I think a close second would be Eddie Vedder.
Right.
But one way or another, all of those other people, they all did something. They all created some sort of stir in the world, right? And I'm not saying that takes away from you being a front person or not. What I'm saying is that creates the ability for the layperson to go, I recognize that name and I don't.
Mm-hmm.
Because if somebody does something in the world that happens, right, regardless of if it's Paramore or if it's Scott Weiland, Haley Williams or Scott Weiland, Haley Williams had her name in popular whatever it is, like in the press, in this and that, because of something that she did, some kind of turmoil that she stirred up, right? Scott Weiland, same thing. Axl Rose, same thing. He lived on that. That's how he built a career off of stirring shit up to build up his name, right?
So do you think that
I don't think that
part of being a front man?
So no. Now we're talking about two different things.
Well, no, but I'm not saying that it's not. I'm saying it could be.
No. What I'm saying is front person is a captivating person on stage that commands a stage, that does their thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
No, whether or not you know somebody's name because of seeing them once or twice versus not seeing them once or twice, but then also knowing their name, I think it has to do with name familiarity in the press.
Okay.
Right? So you don't know X people, like, you don't know the guy from fucking Mariana's Trench. You know why? He's a great frontman.
Although great frontman, yeah.
He's an incredible frontman on stage.
Yep.
Guess what? He has stirred up shit. So if you came on this show and you said, "Man, the singer of Mariana's Trench," and we would have to look it up and then give him a shout out.
Right.
That's one thing, right? As somebody who just is a layperson, like listener, right?
Mm-hmm.
I happen to be a nerd, so I can pull.
Right.
I happen to be a nerd, so I can go Aaron Pauley, fucking Dan Marsala, whoever, right?
Right.
I can just do that, but I think name recognition versus being a front person are two different things.
I think that's
way
fair.
different.
Yeah,
things.
I think that's fair.
And I think name recognition, and I'm not saying this is why she's famous, because obviously they had something going on already, because they were signed to a record deal and the record company was pushing shit hard.
Well, and Riot was out already, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they had already put out an incredible record. Yeah.
So, but the fact of the matter is that Haley Williams wouldn't be a recognizable name unless the press latched onto it for some reason and because of something, right? So that could have been her standing up for women's rights and getting arrested.
Mm-hmm.
It could have been her somehow getting famous with a cookbook.
Mm-hmm.
Happened to be nude photos. But it happened. And the name was out there in the press because of that. It wasn't...
Okay.
Her name wasn't out there because Paramore was like, hey, we want to get your name out there. It was out there because she was out there with Paramore, and because that happened, and the press was like, hey, this person from Paramore, because this band is already a thing and it's already got buzz and it's winning MTV Music Awards. That is why people know that name. That's my perspective on it.
Okay.
And it has nothing to do with how great she is and how, whatever, like, yeah, she's fucking awesome. But I do think that if you're saying, like, well, I don't know this person's name and I know this person's name, it's like, well, you know this person's name because A, they were signed before the big bubble, I'll call it, and also she had her name out in the press because of Good, Bad, or Ugly.
All right. So that makes sense. I mean, if we want to look back and go, okay, why do we know the names? Why does the general public know the names of anyone from bands?
Right.
Generally, it's because of bad press.
It's because it's because of press and
Right.
90, not 90, but a majority of the time, yeah, bad press is what gets you the most press. That's
All right.
why that saying exists. No press is bad press
All right.
unless you're a racist, and then it's bad press,
So do you think that we
or a
wouldn't
rapist.
do, do you think that we wouldn't know the names Scott Weiland, Jonathan Davis, Haley Williams if it weren't for bad press? Do you think we would just know their band names?
I don't think John. And listen, I'm not a huge Korn fan, but I don't think his name was out there because of bad press.
Well, he had like the he had the interesting press, like, oh, he was he worked as a in a fucking funeral home, and he won't ever drive, and like all little things that were
Is that
quirky and
bad?
different about him than anybody else.
Is that bad though?
I don't know.
I mean, do
Okay,
bad people work at
Ta-
funeral homes?
take away the word bad and the one name that you can say that about, and just say press.
Yeah.
So you think those names wouldn't have stood out, and those people wouldn't have popped out of their bands? It would be just like Korn has a great singer for the layman, or Stone Temple Pilots has a great frontman,
Yes.
or Guns N' Roses has a great frontman. If it
Name-
wasn't for
recognition wise,
press because of something else they did.
oh yeah,
Okay.
name recognition wise, for sure,
Okay.
100%. You don't think so?
I don't know. I tend to think people stand out for whatever reason, you know. And again, just and maybe it's because I knew some of these names before I heard bad press, so or general press. So I don't know. I honestly don't know.
I think that and I definitely, especially nowadays, like shit, since cutting the cord,
Right.
since not having cable television and not watching the fucking news all the time and not I don't have Yahoo or Google News or anything like that as the front page of my web browser and stuff. Shit, Jen and I were talking about it. It's like maybe I'm naive, maybe I'm closed-minded, maybe whatever. Maybe I'm just like creating this like safe space for myself. But since cutting the cord, it's really made a huge difference in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And I find out about things, and like, yeah, dude, like, for me, music is one of those things. And when I learn of a band and I enjoy them a lot, like Landon from Plotting You, people don't know about that guy. I do.
Right.
I fucking do.
I don't know his name, but I know he was great live.
Yeah, right. We had him on the show,
Right.
but you don't remember his name.
But I don't remember his name.
You know what? He hasn't overdosed at and not shown up at a major festival.
Yeah, see that it kind of, I can see your point, but your point makes me sad. Honestly.
I'm not happy about it.
I honestly, the idea to me that none of these people would have been a name that the zeitgeist felt worthy of learning had they not done something completely not musical that was more in the negative. That if they hadn't have done that, no one would even know their names other than fans. That makes me sad, because I'd like to think that someone with the with the talent and the command and just the command and presence of a Scott Weiland or Chris Cornell would make a name, would rise above that, would be a standout. To think that the only reason anybody gives a fuck to know Scott Weiland's name is because he was a drug addict is sad to me.
I don't think it's the only reason.
Well, if that's the contributing reason to where anybody bothered.
But it certainly is a reason, right?
Yeah.
The more your name's out there in the regular press, in the normal day-to-day lives of people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I choose to you know, like Beartooth is a favorite band of mine. So for whatever reason, I know the band members' names, right? And they're a positive impact on my life because I see what they do day to day, and that's really fucking cool, you know? Like they're super excited on social media about touring Europe and then them going, "Hey, the O2 in London closed down, so we had to go to an arena." And then the arena ended up selling out. Is like, oh shit. You know, imagine going to a city and going like, cool, we're gonna play the Paramount, and then the Paramount closes and they're like, well, I guess we could do fucking Nassau Coliseum.
Right.
But then Nassau Coliseum sells out. And like that's cool to me. Like that's
really cool.
That to me, that's what I surround my life with now. That's why I enjoy that stuff, you know, like the guys from Story of the Year. There's a tumultuous time that they dealt with, but like, you know, finding fatherhood, especially these bands, you know, like finding fatherhood, finding a happy place in your life, and that's not necessarily touring constantly and stuff like that. Like, yeah, that's the kind of shit that I kind of fall into.
Well, sure. All I'm saying is that
like that's why I know these names, right?
Right.
But then you got on the other side, like you said, you got the Scott Weilands, the Chris Cornells, the Chester Benningtons, the this, the that. Why are they so well known? Well,
I think it's unfortunate that I would like to think that if a band like Beartooth was supposed to play the Paramount and then was going to play Nassau Coliseum, and then Nassau Coliseum was sold out, and they went out and they completely captivated the shit out of that crowd to the point where it got reported on by the news because it was just such an amazing concert that in that statement, they would mention the frontman who had a hand in doing that. And that if they continued to do that at different venues, that they would build up a name and those people would get some recognition. I hate to think that to get any recognition from how good they are, he's got to fuck someone he shouldn't or become an addict. And like, well, that's it really sucks to think that that's the world we live in.
That's, you know what? Like it sucks that that's the world we live in.
Yeah.
It's like, you know what? Newsflash. That's what made those guys famous. Tragedy, shit like that. You know, like issues and things that were available to the mainstream press. The nude photos, whatever it is. You know, It doesn't matter what it is, right? But I'll tell you what. I've seen videos of the show that like happened just mere hours ago of them in a stadium. You know what mainstream press is going to cover that and be like, hey, this front man who's had 2 fucking music careers and he's just 30, thought he would bring his band to a fucking an iconic venue. Like the O2 in London is iconic. It ain't a fucking stadium though.
Yeah.
Right? But instead, like, they came and they moved it, and they were like, okay, well, we're nervous about it, let's do it, and then sold it out. They went from a 3,000 seater to a 12,000 seater. But you think any press got that?
If only he had a drug problem or killed somebody, maybe it would.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I'm glad. I This has been great.
Did I bring the mood down?
Yeah, man. I'm glad I quit drugs. I know that no matter how good I get, no one will ever give a fuck.
Right. Well, you know,
All right.
they
But at
will.
least I know. I will say, you know what? You know who's never caused any problems, at least in my mind, that I know their fucking name? Matt Bellamy.
Who's that?
Muse.
Oh, Muse. You're right. Right. Okay. Yep. Sorry. You're right.
Pretty great front, man. Thank you, everybody, for listening to Bacon's My Podcast.
Yeah.
You know, this has been fun.
We got down a real dark path.
Yeah.
we?
Yeah, man. Everyone that does music, quit or show your dick and tits. Because
I'll show my tits.
your talent doesn't matter.
I showed mine. StrangerhoodTV.com.
StrangerTV.com.
And you can see my tits because I use the lawnmower.
Because the lawn is on your chesticles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Cheers, everybody. Thank you guys for listening. Hope you enjoyed this conversation. If you want to weigh in on it, throw some comments down. This has been long. I just looked at the time and I was like, holy shit, we got to wrap up. But yeah, hope you had a good time. Thank you guys for listening once again to Drinks and Discussions with Bacon is My Podcast, where we like to ask the question every single day.
Always.
What is it?
What?
Huh?
What's your bacon?
Yeah. What's your bacon? BaconsMyPodcast.com. Find all of our links to everything there.
Yeah.
Just do that.
Yeah.